20 years ago on Valentine's Day saw the still unexplained disappearance of 9-year-old Cleveland girl Asha Degree. The night before her disappearance, Asha's father had checked on her and her 10-year-old brother O'Brien at 2:30 a.m. Both were peacefully sleeping, but O'Brien later remembered hearing a movement from Asha's bed during the night. He remembered hearing her get up and at the time assumed she'd gone to the bathroom. But the family later realised that Asha had been preparing a backpack for several days. She had grabbed the bag, slipped out of their Shelby home and set off walking south along Highway 18. Asha's mother, Akila, awoke earlier than usual at 5:45 a.m. and started to prepare the showers for the children's baths prior to school. Unable to find Asha, she became concerned and realised that Asha's book bag and house key were also missing. She called Asha's grandmother across the road, not being told that Asha was also not there, began to frantically run up and down the street, screaming for her daughter. By 6:45 a.m, police officers from the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office had converged on the Degree home and were also out combing the neighbourhood. There was no evidence of forced entry or foul play inside the house, leading to the conclusion Asha had left by choice. An inventory of her missing belongings indicated that she had packed several changes of clothing, possibly including a nightgown and basketball uniform. After TV publicity that day, 2 sightings of Asha reported. A 25-year-old truck driver recognised her from a TV image he saw while eating lunch. He had seen the child walking in the rain at 3:30 that morning, about a mile south of her home. Concerned for her safety, he had circled his 10-wheeler truck 3 times in an attempt to help Asha, but she took fright and ran into the woods and out of sight. At 4:15 a.m, she was again sighted by a former deputy from the sheriff's office, who was driving northbound with his son. They sent out a CB message to other travellers to be on the lookout and reported the sighting the next day. Intensive scouring of the area where Asha had been seen revealed nothing. There was no sign of a hit-and-run accident or abduction, and bloodhounds, which had been brought in immediately, failed to pick up a scent due to the weather conditions. Local residents were approached regarding anything unusual, but no dogs had been heard barking or anything suspicious seen. A business couple in the area had found some odd items in their doorless storage shed: a green marker, a 1996 Atlanta Olympics pencil, a yellow Mickey Mouse hairbow, some cellophane candy wrappers, and a wallet-sized photo of a little girl, who was never identified despite a wild public appeal for information about the image. Asha's parents confirmed that all the other items belonged to their daughter, and similar candy wrappers were found on the highway where she'd been seen. Despite these seemingly positive leads, investigators would uncover no further evidence. On February the 20th, after 3 days of continued searching without success by police and dozens of volunteers, the official search was suspended. 18 months later, Asha's book bag was found buried and wrapped in plastic bags at a construction site nearly 20 miles from her family's house. Its actual contents have not been disclosed by police. 16 years after her disappearance, a new witness came forward saying that he saw Asha getting into a distinctive vehicle on that morning. The car was described as a dark green 1970s model, either a Lincoln Mark IV or a Ford Thunderbird with rust around the wheel well. Asha's family have struggled to find a reason for her leaving home. She'd been down after a basketball team had lost the game a few days earlier, but seemed to have cheered up since then, and there were no recent family issues which would have caused her to be upset and want to run away. Asha's classmates reported to police that she had shown them some unexplained money she'd had in her possession at school the week before her disappearance. This and the mysterious photo have led some on social media to speculate that she'd been groomed over time and may have been meeting someone or snuck out to attend a prearranged slumber party. Another strong theory is that the quiet but very athletic Asha was more devastated than her parents thought by the loss of a basketball team. It's the first loss of the season. Her departure from their family home may have been impulsive, only to find herself vulnerable and a target for an abduction. But there is also some suggestion of a purpose to Asha's journey. The first witness said that Asha, whom he described as having her hair in pigtails and wearing a white dress and sneakers, had looked like she knew where she was going. She was walking at a pretty good pace. Similarly, the second witness described the small figure as wearing light-coloured clothing, but he believed her to be a woman out walking after a possible argument at home. Although concerned about her safety, he did not see fit to intervene, but messaged other truck drivers to exercise caution. In 2013, hopes were raised when police detained a suspect whose alleged crimes bore a close similarity with the circumstances around Asha's disappearance. Again, the 7-year-old girl had mysteriously vanished from her home in the early hours of the morning while her siblings slept in the next bed. However, after a thorough investigation into the man's movements, Cleveland police ruled out any possibility of his involvement with Asha's case. At that stage, in the absence of any viable leads or lines of inquiry, police made the simple but dispiriting announcement that they believed Asha had left the residence of her own free will and had met with foul play. In 2016, after publication of the age-adjusted photos, a witness claimed to have seen a girl who looked like Asha get in a car on the very anniversary of the day that she had been reported missing and on the same highway. There have been hundreds of tips from the public, and police keep a database of names while anticipating new technology that will lead to a suspect and eventually Asha. Her mother has even followed cars like those publicised after tip-offs from supporters. Profilers and crime investigation specialists attend regular meetings to analyse new data and sightings. They hold to their theory that someone saw Asha and took her away. While nobody has ever been detained or charged, both the family and police say, "We know somebody knows something," and their hope all these years later is that someone will talk. Not knowing is the hardest part for Asha's family. The FBI say they have not given up on the case and 5 years ago reorganised the case files, scouring local, state and federal files and releasing age-progressed photos. They commissioned a new team of dedicated agents and detectives to the case and offered a $25,000 reward for information. More recently, police also released an appeal for 2 new wanted clues relating to Asha's disappearance. The first is a new Kids on the Block t-shirt, white, and showing a photo of the band, and with red trims at the collar, sleeves, neck and lower hem. Police are asking the public if anyone knows a person who owns such a shirt, who may have lost track of it. The second clue is a Dr. Seuss book named McGilligut's Pool, which they believe came from Asha's elementary school library. They have asked if anyone had borrowed the book or knew someone who had it, and again may have lost track of it. No records were kept by the library of borrowed books at the time of Asha's disappearance. Police did not disclose where these items came from or how exactly they relate to her case, and said that there were other discoveries that have not been released to the public. Sheriff Alan Norman, who is now in charge, says, "Our investigation team makes progress every year. It is still an active case, and we consider it a solvable case. Asha's grieving parents have established a scholarship in her name. The townsfolk and local media have been supportive of the family in the search for Shelby's sweetheart, as she has become known. Every year, Asha's parents and brother O'Brien hold a memorial walk on the anniversary of her strange disappearance, hoping the publicity and similar weather conditions will spark someone's memory."